Shit, bro, I ain't gonna lie.
I'm affiliated. 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 I'm affiliated.
This video is under fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or purpose use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All rights and credit go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement intended. Enjoy. Oh yeah, on your way out, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, man. This is the Argument League. Turn up.
Oh yeah. I'm in the building. It's your boy A9, aka the champ, aka A Unity, aka the Black Jedi, aka we finna talk some smack tonight. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brother Suave Boss, Argument League 2. You know what I'm saying? We had a couple technical difficulties, but we're gonna keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna hold this post-debate show over here. I'm gonna keep it down until everybody start pulling up in the building. But like I said, shout out to the brother Suave Boss for holding it down on his side of town. For the people that's brown, you know what I'm saying? You know you can't hold that brother down, man. It ain't gonna matter what you do. He gonna figure out a way to get it done. So I appreciate the brother, man. You know what I'm saying? Piping back up. We shoot that shot at Solar for getting that strike, but you know, that really ain't on neither one of them brothers. You know, the intricate details of that, you know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing we can do about that. But yeah, man, come on in the building. Come on in the building. I'm going to hold this thing down tonight. We got the brother Domo who normally holds it down. Shout out to him, the MVP of the league. He's got other obligations tonight. You know what I'm saying? He got to do that chop up. I'm sure if we run this thing long enough, he'll be able to pull up. But if not, you know, I got it. Maybe not because he did start kind of late. So they started kind of late over there. So he going to hold it down. But we're going to lock it in over here. We want to go ahead and get these scores in. We're going to sit here and talk about this debate a little bit. I want to look into the chat. Shout out to the Judge Free Spirit. It's always great to see you. Peace to my sis, you know what I'm saying? Normally I would say my queen, but I don't want it to sound weird. But she Queen Petty. I'm King Petty. So shout out to the sister Lily Revenge, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to West Side of Ryder. Sis Zakia, you know what I'm saying? She said, I'm here for the comedy. I mean, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't gonna be that much comedy. We're gonna talk about it. It might be comedy later when old boy pull up, but we'll see. But you know what I'm saying? We'll talk about it. But let's get to talking about this debate a little bit. So we got Chris and Shenard. Should black people be patriotic? Wow. I mean, you know, it's a good topic. I'll get into my thoughts about what I would have liked to have seen and all of that. But let's break down these arguments for a little bit. So we had the brother Shenard. I'll start with Shenard first. Shenard comes in, you know. And I will say this. We saw a better Shenard than we normally see. Right? We saw a better Shenard than we normally see. You know, he knew he was going up against, but it still wasn't it. And by the way, when you come in, hit that like button. I only see 3 likes right now. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Support Suave for what he's doing, because you never know when something could happen to that other Argument League channel. And we need to have this one on deck. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and hit that like button, because we want to go ahead and get these people in here. Get that like button. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe to this one as well. You know what I'm saying? Treat this as the backup. Shout out to the Queen Scar Beauty. You know what it is, love. Shout out to the brother G-Dap or sister G-Dap. I don't know who you is. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Rozzy, I see you in the building. Hey, look, man, we finna talk about this thing. I got a lot to say. I kind of want to hit on Shenard, but there are going to be some things that I say about the brother Chris. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, first thing I'm going to say, I would have loved to see this debate with Chris versus Shenard, versus Blue or Damo. No, particularly Damo. I would love to see Damo and Chris, but I think Blue would have did an equally as good of a job with presenting an alternate side. I would have loved to see that. So let's stick in that space for a second. Let's stick in the space of what we wish we could have seen. Unfortunately, we couldn't see that. Now, Chris says it's because he's not able to get the debates with the upper level debaters. I will push back and say maybe at this point, maybe he's not offering these type of topics to Adamo. I don't know if he comes in and offers this topic to Damo or Blue. Now, let's not take away from this point, though. He watched Shenard tonight, right? He was poised. He was focused. He had a beautiful PowerPoint. He made excellent points. He had no real pushback all night until he got to the shuckle, but and even then, he was so comfortable, you wasn't finna get him out of zone. So shout out to that brother, man. We say salute to him. We probably gonna see a 150. I don't know, but shout out to that brother, man. He came in and did his thing. We're not gonna hate on that, right? We're not gonna hate on that. And I hear you, West Side Rider. Some people say he's picking low food. I don't know. I ain't gonna say that because there's been a lot that's going on. So I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna say I would love to see him debate Damo and Blue, or Damo or Blue, on this topic. But with that said, now let's get into this conversation. So I thought Chris's argument was interesting because he pulls up and he basically makes the argument that you're patriotic by being in the position of dissent. Right? He's saying you're patriotic by being in a position of dissent because of the way that the Constitution is structured. Everyone has a right to go against the grain. Everyone has a right to voice their opinion. So in being the dissenter, you're actually being patriotic. And if Shenard would have caught that argument, it would have made for a better debate. Right? But then he comes in and uses people like Malcolm X. He uses people like Huey. Right, the late great Huey. He uses a lot of the people, or a few of the people who we would maybe push back. I could hear Damo right now. Saying, but Malcolm X said this. But Huey said that. And we have a completely different argument. And maybe he doesn't use that same argument against Damo or Blue. I don't know. We'll see. But the one thing we know is he uses that argument and there was no real pushback from Shenard. Shenard comes back and he's trying to touch on it, right? He's trying to get into the space where he's saying, how could you support a country who has enslaved us, a country who has destroyed us, a country who has made a capitalistic living off of the backs and the blood, the sweat, the tears off of a slave population, but he wasn't able to make that argument, I think. We'll see what the judges say. We'll see. But that's just my opinion. I don't think he did a good enough job driving it home. I don't think he did a good enough job making the argument that the patriotic perspective would be listen to this, would be anti the growth or the destruction of white supremacy or the growth of the slave, right? Maybe if he comes in and he makes an argument that says, by you supporting this, you're actually supporting the very people that slaved us. I agree with you, Chris. I'm not against your argument. I'm not for argument. I'm just saying what other people's argument would be. I thought that was a very interesting angle to take, was the dissent argument, because you have actual law, you have actual literature, you have actual things that support what you're saying. So I'm not coming at you from that perspective. I'm just speaking from a perspective, had you had a more seasoned opponent, had you had a more studied opponent, maybe we at least see a better fight. I'm not saying you win, lose, don't lose. I'm just saying maybe we see a better fight. But I want to make it clear, you watched him. And I said that earlier. You watched him. It wasn't even a question. But maybe if we see someone else, maybe if we see a Blue, maybe if we see a Damo, maybe if we see a Suave, right? There's a different argument. We see it in Yame. There's a different argument, and maybe we get into some nuance and some deeper discussion. I mean, this was easy for you. We're gonna be honest with you. And like I said, I think you got a 150. If you got anywhere from a 145 to a 150, we're not even gonna play that game. But I would have loved to see someone who could have came in and challenged you. I will say this. I think Shenard pulls up and he breaks 100 for the first time. I think he showed up. He had an actual PowerPoint. He tried to argue his points. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the judges say. Maybe I'm being generous with that over 100. Y'all let me know in the chat what y'all think. Does Shenard break 100 this evening? So here's the two questions. Does Shenard break 100? And does Chris get the first 150? You know, does Chris get the first 150? I made the prediction weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, that Chris he's gonna destroy this cat and he's gonna get a 150 easy. Right? He's gonna get a 150 easy. But yeah, man, y'all keep coming in, keep sharing the joint. If y'all don't know where we at, this is the S.V.D.L post-debate show. That brother Chris Harris versus King Shenard. We saw something. we ain't gonna call it like this intellectual sparring match, but we did see something. And what I think we saw is we saw Chris watching. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Does Shenard break 100? And does Chris do that 150? But now back to the arguments. I saw Damo and I agreed. When you use Malcolm, are we moving into a space where this argument doesn't necessarily line up? Now, if you go into the nuances of Chris's argument, I think he actually makes the case if he argues it and goes into detail. I think Chris really knew he was debating Shenard, so he didn't have to go all the way in. I'm going to keep it a buck. But if Chris knows that he's debating me, if he's debating Suave, if he's debating Damo, if he's debating Blue, and Yame, he's going to present a different argument. And that argument is going to go deeper into the perspective of, by simply being a dissenter, being one that dissents, you're actually upholding democracy. You're actually upholding the actual understanding of how this is supposed to work. And it would just be interesting to see the pushback, right? Because then the pushback is you're fooled. You've been fooled if you think that this thing was set up for you to actually be black and be a dissenter, because everything is geared towards destroying you. Everything is geared towards holding you down and oppressing you. That doesn't mean either argument is right or wrong. It just would have been interesting to see how those arguments interact. And when we understand that, how does that look? How does the post debate work out? How does the chat work when we're in the middle of the chat? And here's an amazing stat or amazing fun fact for y'all. For those of you that maybe are new to the league, this is your first year. What we always understand is if we're in the chat cracking jokes, and if we're in the chat not really talking about the nuances of the debate, but going in on one debater or something like that, what we usually understand is it's a wash early. That's usually how it works. It's a wash earlier. And the reason we say that is because if you're not paying attention to the nuances by the premise or by the rebuttal, you usually understand that the other person didn't really show up prepared to make the argument. And I'm sorry, nothing against Shenard. I know we've had our issues. I thought this was maybe the best Shenard we've seen. If I'm keeping a buck, this probably is the best Shenard we've seen to date. He's got a lot of work to do. This may be the best Shenard we've seen to date. But by the time we got to the rebuttal especially, I knew what it was after the opening. I've been doing this for a minute. It's just what it is. But by the time we got to the rebuttal, I was like, congratulations, Chris. Right? Congratulations, Chris. Up. And we got the commission in the building. So that means we're going to get these scores pretty soon. Shout out to you, Solar.
What's going on with the brother?
You know, bro. Just trying to do my part, man.
Yeah, you're doing it very well. Yeah, we got the scores and the stats. And let's get right to it. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna shut up and let the brothers share these scores. You know, y'all hear from me in a second, but yeah, let's hear these scores real quick. This ought to be interesting. Shout out to the commissioner, by the way, man. We're gonna always get his brother. He's safe and go to Cheetahs. Chris, you a nut. We're gonna always get his brother, the commissioner, his credit, man, because he is the brain trust. He is the mind behind the league. Shout out to the commissioner, Solar Mind. You got it, bro. Bring them scores out. You know what I'm saying? I'll do my thing. I'll comment on it, but you got it. Let's go.
All right, so it was a very powerful debate. Both sides brought information.
Facts. I ain't gonna front. Like, I was proud of Shenard. I would have liked to see Chris debate someone else with a little more information, but this is the best Shenard we've seen. We're gonna be instant. We gotta be honest. And I think as the season progresses, he might end up being a problem.
He might end up being a problem as the season progresses, you say?
I think it's possible. I think if he polishes, he got to polish himself out a lot, right? But he was scratching. He was scratching around the surface.
He was scratching.
He was scratching around the surface of where he needed to go. But I mean, he still got a lot of work to do. He's very rough. But we'll see. If he works and tries to get better, who knows? It's a long season.
Yeah. So with that being said, let's get right to it. Here are the scores. We start out with the scores, right?
Yeah, let's get it. Because we don't do the people's board really no more. Did both of them get their points?
Yeah, they got their points. All
right, let's go.
All right, so yeah, this is Shenard. Opening round, he had a 7 and a 4 for the opening.
We don't see it. Are you sure? Nah, we don't see it.
Oh, you got to bring it up.
So, hey, Suave, where you at? Suave got controls. I just pulled up.
Okay. Yeah. Suave got to bring it up.
Suave Beezy, where you at? Share that screen for us. Man, on my phone. I can make this happen real quick. Zakiya said, A9 must be tired. I ain't tired, I'm just telling the truth. Chris watched him. I said that earlier. Chris watched him, in my opinion, right? But I felt like Shenard, this was the best Shenard we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, out of the two debates, this was the better one.
Yeah, this is the best Shenard we've seen.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to play that game. You know what I'm saying? Hold it down. So I'm going to talk to Suave for a second.
All right, no doubt. And as what I told y'all earlier, the debate of the week, Madon Kemet and Blackson, that should be a very interesting debate. And I'm trying to push this Chris Harris Domo debate again. I'm gonna push this heavy. I'm gonna come up with a crazy promo just like I did last season.
Facts.
I want to see this whole thing go down.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Facts. I want to see 8-9. I want to see 8-9 going against Yame, man. I'm gonna be pushing that too, man.
Facts.
To get this thing going and popping, man. So, we get some of these marquee matchups popping, man. Y'all niggas,
I'm here for it.
Lipping on the pipping, slacking on the goddamn macking.
Slacking it ain't macking. Let's get it, son. Yeah, we got the share screen. I'm here for it though. I'm working on my joint with Chris. I already worked on Swab. I'm working on the Yami. I'm working on Damo. So yeah, I do. I want to see that Chris and Damo matchup, and I want to see it before the playoffs, so then we can have something to even with our appetite if they are to meet. So I do. I want to see that. So yeah. All right, let's get into Shenard's scores. Let's go.
All right, we got a 7 and a 4 for Shenard. A 7 and a 4 for the opening round. Shenard reigning supreme, the king.
I mean, you get 11 in the first round. You know what I'm saying? That means Judge 2.
One. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Judge 2 ain't having it. Already, Judge 2 is saying you got to do better. You know what I'm saying?
And
Judge
one
2
of the things
is
you gotta get a computer, bro. Because I mean,
facts.
you can't rely on me to present it for you. It's going to be very a very basic. It made some points probably took off because the shit was small. Because I can't maximize it because I'm on the OBS. And if I maximize it, the whole screen will just turn black. So you know, you really got to rely on yourself and you know, take the initiative to put together your PowerPoint and be able to present it on your own, because you can't rely on other motherfucker to do work. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm already doing a lot of other shit. So you get like the basic, you know what I mean? Long as it's passing type shit. If it's a deep press, I'm cool with it type shit.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
You got a brother in Strap who decided to take the L in a playoffs debate rather than have Solar present his presentation. That's because, and it ain't nothing against Solar. It's because when you put this thing together, man, you want to be able to present and speak to your argument. Right? You don't want to be asking Solar, go to the next slide. You got to monitor everything you're saying. You got to think about all of this. Nah, man. Do what you got to do to be in a position to present your argument. Solar made an excellent point. Yeah, 7 and 4, and it showed. One of the judges was like, man, why? Number one, you asking Solar, and I'm going to speak to this. You asking Solar to share, but then you don't even know exactly how you want to go through your argument. You had him jump to slide 13 first. And then you had them jump back up. I watched the whole joint, so I already know what these judges are thinking. You had them you had them jump to the end of your presentation, jump back to the top. You start talking about it. You're not focused. You're not organized. You better be glad for that 7, if I'm being honest. So lock that in, man. Go ahead, son. Good job.
All right.
Premise rounds.
6. It got a little better.
Got a little better. You know what I'm saying? Got a little better. And I think that's because he knew what he wanted to say. And we'll get into this later. I still don't think it was it, but at least he's making a coherent argument.
Yeah, definitely was. I understood what he was, what he was aiming at.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't think Chris was having it, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. He at least pulled up. You know what I'm saying? He pulled out a 13. That's respectable.
I mean, he showed the corporations connected to slavery. He got into Christmas addicts. I think he could have made it a little more clear why he brought him up. I think what he was trying to say was that, here you have it, that the first person that was killed, to ignite the Revolutionary War was a black man, yet still we're not recognized as, equals.
Right.
So I think that more so was his argument. That's something that he probably should have said verbatim. I mean, actually kind of show like you got to tell us sometimes when you're doing these presentations. So,
I agree. Your presentation should really put something together. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got to finish with, brother. Let's see what it is.
A 4 and a 3.
All right. So what we seeing now is I
think the first thing that he messed up then when he went back to the slide, because I'm like, what exactly are you going to read?
Yeah. That's
gonna had everything to do with what Chris was talking about.
right at that point.
I was like, I tried to give him my out. I tried to give him my out. Like, yeah, you want to go to the slide, man? Like, and they're like, yeah, that's what I said, right?
Yeah, nah. Like, really, you would have been better off freestyling this, getting there and just attacking Chris's arguments. He gave you a lot to work with. If we're being honest, from your position of being non-patriotic, he gave you stuff to work with. You just chose not to take it, right? And when you see this, and then you decide to share the screen, you got to be on it. You got to be so on it that it's almost not worth it to share the screen if you don't know what you're going to say and what you're going to do, because you have no idea what your opponent is going to say, right? And unless you're able to type it up and put it together on the fly, it makes no sense. So, and so what we're seeing happening is now the judges, they was oscillating or they was back and forth, but then by round 3, they locked in. They're on the same thing.
They locked in by round.
They locked in, bro.
He said by round 3. They locked in.
They locked in. I mean, it's a 1 point differential, bro. And we're not talking.
Right.
It's not like a 7 and a 6 or 8.
Right.
It's a 4 and a 3. So for you to get under a 5, that means both the judges is locked in. Like, I'm just
they on point.
They on point, bro. Like they ain't even gotta talk to each other. They know what it is. We're just gonna keep it a buck. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. All right. Rapid fire.
Facts.
Yo, that's crazy.
Wow.
No, wait. Was it a? Oh, so the person.
Wow.
Yeah, they definitely on the same.
Yeah, they're on the same page, bro. Like, wow. So we had the 4 and a 3. We go down a point. We go down a point to a 3 and a 2.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm telling y'all. As debaters, we used to this now. We've had 2 years of seeing this. So we understand. When we start to see them scores, we immediately know what we did wrong, what we got to get better. If you're being honest. If you want to be a hoe, or if you want to be soft about it, you know. But when you being honest, if you seeing this, you know, I got to get some things right because both the judges, and let's speak to this. I love to speak to this. These judges aren't talking to each other. They ain't texting each other like, oh, you judging tonight? Nah. They sitting back, you know, watching the debate, did their family thing, set their time apart, watching the debate, and they both came to the 3 and the 2. That's because they both saw, according to the criteria, you know, this lines up with what they saw. And it's going to be interesting to see the notes because what we're going to see, and I'm predicting, is they think he did a horrible job attacking in his questions, but he also did a horrible job on defense and answering Chris's questions. Right.
Yeah. I think that's where it's more so.
I think that's what hurt him. I think that's what hurt him was his inability to answer Chris questions. And I'm predicting we're going to see a really high score for Chris. I'm just going to put that out. Let's go, though. 3 and a 2. Yep, closing round. 5 and a 2. We right in that space. You know, we like to be in a 2 point, but 3 point differential is still the same. And especially in a debate like this. 5 and a 2. I think Judge 2 really, when we get to this point, is just fed up. I think when we get to you know what I'm saying? That's what that is. Judge 2, when we get to this point, is just fed up. Like, you didn't take it serious. You pressed this off. And I'm using this because Shenard put this out in his actual opening that this is a long time coming for the debate. So one of the judges is thinking, in my mind, you pushed this out. Both of y'all pushed this out for this long, and this is what you give us?
I think in the beginning of the rebuttal round, he was like talking about like some shit ain't had nothing to do with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or was that the closing?
It was both. Because the rebuttal, he brings in points. He basically introduces a new premise, and he doesn't attack it. And then by the time we get to the closing, it has nothing to do.
Where he was talking about, what round was he talking about? Saying like, yeah, we kept on rescheduling the debate.
That's the opening. He says that in the opening. He said this is going to be right. So he sets that stage of this is going to be a good debate, you know, because we rescheduled it. And I'm listening because I'm thinking like, okay, he showed up ready. You know, he's saying I rescheduled, Chris rescheduled basically, or whatever he was saying. And then we get to it and I'm like, bro, this is what you did with your extra time. So, and that's what the judges are saying right here. I know 5 and 2 is not the gap we like to see, but what you see is, especially with Judge 2 being consistent with how they're judging, this is fed up. Like, this is really like, no, this does not line up. Your closing argument does not sound like a closing, and I'm gonna hit you, and that's what we see.
All right. So let's go to the PowerPoint. He scored pretty high on that. 8 and a 7.
All right, this is fair. Like, oh my goodness, this is so fair, and I'm happy, bro. Like this is the type of thing that makes me happy. Look, this is fair. Number one, we right in that perfect gap. 8 and 7 means the judges are right on the same page, but this means they're judging each round according to what happens in the round. You feel me, Solo?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they're saying, okay, yeah, we gave you a 3 and a 4. But on your last joint, but we can't punish you on your presentation because if we're being honest, his PowerPoint was neat, it was consistent, It was legible. You couldn't really knock it in the respect of we couldn't read it. Maybe it lacked some aesthetics. Maybe it lacked cohesion, and that's what didn't get him those 10s. But an 8 and 7 is a solid. This is a solid 15 with a PowerPoint, and it reflects what his presentation was. I think.
And it kept it simple as well. Like
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff on there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. So that shows that it's more so about how he's presenting as opposed to what is.
I agree.
Like, you know.
I agree. And I'm learning from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to get 10s, let's keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? I think I got a 10 and a 9. Yeah. I mean, that's a solid score. That's a solid 15, man.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
A 6 and a 4 for the overall.
Makes sense. Right in the gap. So, once again, and I love to say this. I love it when we can say this. The rubric works.
Mm-hmm.
Judge 2 is right in his pocket or his or her pocket saying, you know, I think this is a 4. Judge 1 is saying, I think it's a 6. And that represents their scoring throughout the debate, right? They were a little differently. Judge 1 is looking at it from the perspective of, okay, I'm not trying to kill him, but I do disagree with his presentation. He's not presenting the way we want in the form of a 10. Judge 2 is like, okay, at this point, I'm fed up. I'm not going to crucify you, but you're getting that 4. And it's right within the pocket. What's that overall? So
a 78. So that was higher than the first debate.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna break 100. I did, and I'm clearly wrong, and I'm clearly not ready to be a judge in this league. Clearly not ready to be a judge yet in this league, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? When you're watching it and you scoring each round, and we see them being so close,
I guarantee you, if he would have sold his product a little more better, then he would have got 100, even with
I agree.
Some of the setback. Like, you know, just sound convincing. You know what I mean? You got to put a little effort into the delivery and you know, your enthusiasm of debating. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, that's kind of his natural voice, though. But I would have to push it to make it even, you know, sound like you're convinced. You know.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Right. And I think Anonymous is probably the best at doing that. You know, Domo said he disagrees, but I think, you know, Domo Anonymous, you know, he makes his argument sound very convincing. And nigga, like, you know, even in debates, he may not even believe what is being presented.
I may not even believe it, right?
Yeah, he just makes it sound convincing. So, you know, it just keeps the attention of the undivided attention of the viewers and also the judges to catch on all of the information that you're presenting. So that's just something that you need to focus on moving forward. But this is the premise round for all
right, before we get started, I know you know the score already. Now I've made this. Hold on, don't go no further. Hold on. Okay, this is the 10 and the 9, right? All right, bet. All right, so obviously I'm off rip. I'm saying he got a 1. I said he's gonna get a 150. But we're gonna keep it. We're gonna give it a caveat. I'm saying he's between 145 and 150. I'm gonna be interested to see. It's gonna be interesting to see what the judges do. In my opinion, this is very lopsided, and I'm gonna talk about why and all of that after. But let's get it popped.
So,
all right.
So you want to put money on that?
Nah, I don't want no money, bro. Nah. I already got enough money on these college football games coming up.
All right. So we got a 10, a 9 and a 10 for the opening round for Chris Harris.
Yeah, I mean, and look, the aesthetics were beautiful. He made his point. You know, I can't wait to see the notes to see where that 1 point was taken off. But I mean, what are you gonna do? This was a great opening round. Let's go.
Premise 10.
Yep. And this is once again to the debaters. It wasn't even so much the aesthetics. Once again, aesthetics are great, but he makes his point. He sticks to his point. And he just knocks it out. We don't even got to talk about it. Let's go.
I honestly think that this wasn't one of the better Chris Harris debates.
I agree. I agree.
But he's very polished in his delivery, and he's going to score high. You know, he's almost like he's a polished debater, as we already know.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be hard to get certain debaters outside that realm of 20 in these premises. I will say this. I was anxious to see, and this is an answer for me, not good or bad. I was anxious to see that he hadn't got to his final point when you called time. And I wanted to know how the judges were going to do that. But I think he did enough to where you understood the point. So I'm not mad at the score. I just was anxious to see how that was going to work out. Right? I know other
that was
debaters.
in the rebuttal, right? That was in the premise.
No,
right?
that was in the premise. Yeah, in the premise. Right?
So they hit him with 10s. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave him 10. So, and that's what I said. I was anxious to see how that worked out. And to me, that means it was overkill almost in his premise. So that's interesting. So I like that. I'm not mad at that. You know, I'm learning right now. So let's go.
Rebuttal.
Here we go. Another perfect score. 20 points in that rebuttal. What did you see in that rebuttal? What do you think?
I think he went like point for point, you know, dealing with the things that he made. I think that it was like a little rambling going on though, on certain points, but I probably would have given him a 9.
I agree. I think it was a 9, and that's not hating. I just think it was a 9. I think he answered point for point, but I also agree that there was a bit of rambling. But I think at this point, and this is the thing we got to think too. The judges are watching this in the moment. It is hard when you see what they gave Shenard, like a 5 and a 6 or 4, whatever they gave.
We know how to make his opponent look bad too.
Right.
Like, I mean, with these lopsided debates, it's like, you know, he does a good job at, you know, debating lower tier debaters. And it's not a shot at you know, Shenard. You know, you knew you're going to learn the system. You were going to become better. But he has a way of
really embarrassing,
making them look like they don't know what they're talking about. You know, even on some of the points that, you know, I may have agreed with what Shenard was making, but
let's speak to that real quick, because we're gonna get into that in a little bit. There were some points that Shenard was making that I thought he could have drove home that was good. Yeah. But this speaks to Chris's skill of kind of washing that away in a rebuttal. And this wasn't a rebuttal where he went second, right? This was a rebuttal where he went first. And Shenard had the last voice. And it was still powerful enough for me to get a 10. And I forgot what Shenard got, but yeah, excellent.
Shenard got for the rebuttal, he got a 3 and a 4.
Right. So I mean, we saying
was that the 2 and a 5? I want to know.
I don't remember. I don't even want to misspeak, but yeah, I thought it was rambling. I personally would have gave him a 9, but I understand why the judges gave him a 10, because they looking at it in a perspective, maybe a head to head, and like you said, he did rebut every point. He clearly rebutted every point that Shenard made.
Yeah, right. You got a 4 and a 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 7 to 20. Jeez. That's big right there. All right, let's get to this rapid fire. Yeah, let's get to this rapid fire. I do want to see this. Yep, 10s. Yeah, so right now he's missing 1 point off of perfect. Right, and let's speak to this. His questions were on point. He clearly was making points, but he didn't get rattled because Shenard didn't present anything that was going to rattle him. Right, so
I mean, it was even times in the debate where Shenard was about to ramble, and he said, "No.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me another question." Like,
ask me another question. Like he's
just letting him ramble the time out. Like he's like playing with this, like he's like playing with him like a dead mouse and a cat. You know, still just hitting the mouse.
Yeah, bro.
And then on his offense, it was just like, yeah, bro, like you don't answer the questions, and it's like, you know, you kind of whatever the process of his thought process was lead up to him speaking, you know, that's just something right. I found to be interesting.
Hey, I know we're going to the. I know we're going to But I want to say this to the. I'm not dragging this out. I'm saying this for the other debaters that will come watch this, because contrary to popular belief, as debaters, we're learning a lot by the judging, right? And we got to be honest with that. Masterful closing, right? They agree with him. He's very calm. He's collected. He recaps the entire debate. And once again, I would have loved to see this with a Damo or a Blue or a Nyame. I really would have loved to see this one, probably preferably with a Blue, but I would have loved to see the argument from a Damo's perspective. I would have loved to see Blue's perspective just because of the passion, but I know Damo would have presented different arguments that would have been a problem for Chris. I would have liked to see this debate with one of them, just to see how Chris responds to the pushback, what that looks like. Do both of them get these high scores, or do they punch each other? Do they cut each other? Do they hurt each other enough to where we lose points? I mean, this was easy. There's no pushback. I don't want to say lower tier debaters because I get accused of being an elitist. I'm not trying to go in that space, but tonight Shenard was clearly outclassed. We just got to be honest. So congratulations, Chris, man. Great scores.
All right, so this would be the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Like I said,
I think there was a couple of areas where his words was a little small, but I was looking for, obviously, from the OBS though, so maybe it was different on the actual PowerPoint.
I mean, if we want to be nitpicky, I could agree there are times where his words come over into the clouds, whatnot, but I don't think
I was able to read them. I was able to read them, but usually I would see somebody like, you know what I mean, they were small enough. I've seen people with
I've seen people get lower scores
with words around that, you know, they actually got some points to go.
Right. I've seen people get lower scores for that. So but I'm not gonna take away from it. It's a good PowerPoint. So let's see the overall. Yeah, 10-9. That's the judge. I think they gave him a 1 at so what do you get, a 148?
148.
Yeah, 148, 78. Congratulations to Chris. Stop debating these guys. All right. You padded your scores enough. Like you
all right. So do you want to jump right into the
yeah, because I know that's what everybody want to see. I really want to see the rankings, but I kind of know where they are already. So let's get into these notes. Let's get into the judges' notes. And shout out to the commissioner, man, for spending this time with us. Shout out to Swab. I see you up there.
Yeah.
Let's get these notes.
All right.
That's what I gotta read. All right, let's go.
Hey, nigga, why you reading the chat, nigga? I'm all about that smoke.
That chat be interesting though. That chat be interesting, especially when it comes to this, man. And like I said, so in case y'all just tuning in, Chris got the dub 148 to 78.
Damn, was that the biggest landslide in Solar Vision Debate League history?
It might be, man. We seen a lot of lopsided this season. I'm not gonna. We seen a lot of lopsided. I gotta go back.
Harris is launching nukes on these niggas. That's why I would have been doing this shit. Yeah, y'all niggas be like trying to like marquee matchups. I'd have been eliminating these lower tier motherfuckers, stomping them with my black boots, boots.
If I said so, I'm gonna hit you. That's because Solar ain't never been a debater in the league. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Solar is all about
them with my steel black boots.
Solar all about just destroying people. Some of us now we like, man, I want to see how I line up with the best. But I will say,
I would have had two. I would have debated two of the top tier debaters, and the rest of the motherfuckers I'd have been black boots. Macho Man elbowing these niggas.
Hey, and evidently Chris is on that same thought process. I'm not mad at him because he's getting results points wise. So when the points look the way they look, you can't be mad. I take the 148 over 140 any day. So congratulations to that brother, man. All right, let's get it in. Judge 1. This is an open round for Shenard. Let's see. Negative. Shenard comes to the debate with solid opening. clearly laid out the tenets of this debate. Man, hold on, bro. Let me make this clear. There we go. All right. Yeah, there we go. The tenets of this debate. King Shenard stated patriotism is a joke and blacks should not be patriotic due to black exploitation in this country. Juneteenth mentioned as an example, but never elaborated on what sounded like an interesting angle. I agree. Judge 2, arguing against patriotism, left 3 minutes on the clock, decent opening. Sorry. I wish it would have been a bit longer. So they wanted to see more. Right. It's true. Oh, wow. So it's true.
I'll help out with the it says premise. King Shenard defined patriotism, and patriot, a person who vigorously supports country, define racial capitalism, democracy to support the blacks, should not be patriotic. King Shenard, they ain't gonna even put the king, the KS. Why don't nobody want to call him king?
No, they won't call him the king, bro.
They had me feeling weird calling him King Shenard. I'm not gonna be the only one calling him. I ain't have a problem with it, but I'm not gonna be the only motherfucker calling you king, nigga. Like,
bruh, look, it's like when Emac first came. Nobody finna call him his full name.
I never was gonna call him Emac.
You wasn't called immaculate. What you mean?
Right? Talking about some immaculate.
Same concept, right?
And he a white boy on top of that. Like,
right. I'm gonna call a white man immaculate. Yeah, man.
You niggas is crazy.
Yeah.
King Shenard, Nicole Jones quote seems to contradict his premise. I gotta go back over that Nicole Jones. I remember it, but I don't remember what.
I don't remember why they saying this. Yeah, why it contradicted. I missed that part.
America wasn't. Oh, there it says it right here. America wasn't a democracy until black. Yeah. You know what? I thought that. What I thought in my head was like during the rebuttal, I would have addressed that. You know,
like it's built off the concept of democracy.
That makes us patriot. That's why we should be patriotic, because we're the one that established democracy here.
Right.
So it says King Shenard talked about why should blacks be patriotic through all the racial atrocities. King Shenard gave an example of Crispus Attucks. Epitome of black patriot goes against your premise. Lucretia Pritchard, false patriotism and receiving reparations as white women was mentioned possibly to show a contrast that blacks are still fighting for reparations today, maybe, but not articulated. Okay, Du Bois and Dolezal exploited the NAACP fostering false patriotism.
I got this one. You got it?
Oh, yeah, I get it. It says, start out the round with definitions and terms. Patriotic, patriotism, racial capitalism, democracy were the terms defined. The definitions were pulled from the Oxford Dictionary. America wasn't a democracy until black Americans made it one. A phrase that Nicole Jones at the New York Times was used. One slide had an upside down flag along with many terms that highlights why we shouldn't love this nation. Crispus Attucks used as an example, highlighting that he died during the revolution in Boston. Racial capitalism defined as a false belief of racial superiority. Lucretia Pritchard, a woman who applied for reparations in Virginia on June 15, 1776, used a phrase for the reparations and as a result received $100. Source was listed. Claims that the NAACP was used to turn black people into patriots. No reference for this claim. Overall, good slides and information. You mentioned racial Dolezal, but I think you meant Dolezal. Dozier. Rachel Dozier. But I think you meant Dolezal. She's still a white lady that infiltrated the NAACP. So your point still lands. Okay.
Yeah. And this is why I say, like, obviously this is going to be the round that they give the most comments on, because this is the round that gave him the biggest scores. But like I said, he's scratching the surface on the argument. And if he understood the argument, he had enough points. He could have drove the Crispus Attucks home. He could have drove the Rachel Dolezal. It was a lot that he could have drove home. And so, yeah, missed opportunity. Let's go. Thank you for reading that. Jeez. Yeah, make this thing bigger.
It says
I got you.
CH Durant gave Chris Harris the round. There you go. This is the rapid fire round. Okay, gave Chris Harris a round. Church. That's why I thought that shit CH meant.
Yeah, like I had to blow it up. Hey, that's
church.
Funny. But that's what they said. He said church. Like, for Chris, though.
It says, mention during Chris's round that you were tired and didn't understand the question.
Man.
If you were not in a position to debate tonight, you could have rescheduled. Oh, hell no, he wasn't rescheduling.
No, he wasn't rescheduling.
Nah, he definitely wasn't doing that.
Right.
You kept asking the definition of very simple terms. I couldn't tell if you just didn't know or if you were using definitions as an attempt at dragging out the time. During your round, it was clear that you weren't paying attention as you kept asking the same questions. Chris mentioned what he loved about the country, and then you followed up by asking what he loved about the country, right? Yeah, I peeped that. I started laughing when that happened.
Right.
So he's going to turn around and say,
what do you know about
the country? This nigga went in for 5 minutes about how you love the country.
How you love the country. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he gave him ample ammo. He just didn't bite it. He didn't take it and run with it.
It says right after Chris expounded more on the question, you asked him what question you just asked because you couldn't remember. This round couldn't have gone worse if you tried, honestly.
Damn. Hey, look, don't smoke before the round. That's what the judge said. Don't get lit before the debate. That's what the judge told you.
Yo, exactly. This nigga, no pulling L's on the screen, bro.
No, yeah, bro. Stop that, man. Stop, bro. Stop. Like, man, this is crazy.
I hope you don't be putting that embalming fluid in your L's, man.
Man, because it was seeming something happened. Something happened. I got you. Mentioned during Chris's round. Oh, no, okay. That was it, right? So what we on the closing? All right, I got you. Failed to connect.
Right. Yeah, that was right. Yeah,
we on the yeah. All right. Failed to connect his closing with the rest of his argument. Right. Like, what do you do? What are you supposed to do? Judge number 2. Closed with the rebuttal, but had no rebuttal for the rebuttal round. Jeez. Stated that you didn't understand. I think that was glaringly clear after your premise round. And that's what I said. He didn't understand Chris's argument. The judges saw that. And then on top of that, he had no rebuttal, but then closes with a rebuttal. What do you always say, Solar? We got to know what round we're in. You got to know what round
means a lot. You know?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. That's crazy.
All right. PowerPoint.
All right. Legible and good effort. I mean, okay, so yeah. What do you got, an 8 and 7 here? Something like that? Yeah.
That was his highest score. Yeah, that was
his highest score. Yep. Number 2, very simplistic. Writing was large and easy to read. I feel like you could have added a bit more to the presentation. A small pop of color would have gone a long way. I think I know who this judge is at this point. Yeah. It's true. I mean, you don't have to always go black and white. We saw that with another debater. And, keep it simple is obviously the theme for this season. But that doesn't mean you have to be bland. Let's go.
All right.
Overall.
Final synopsis.
Here we go. More debates needed to gain confidence. Overall, both teams played hard.
Wow.
That's that moral victory is right there. Judge 2, your energy during the premise round was a bit low. You could have made a bigger impact by speaking a bit louder, right? Mm-hmm. Use your voice. You mentioned more than once that you were tired and only had 2 hours of sleep. I feel like you weren't able to debate to the best of your capabilities tonight. You could have rescheduled like you've done many times before this. No, you couldn't have rescheduled it. So take that L. No, take that L. I was sitting here around 9:15, like, bro, we better not get another reschedule. I'm sitting here with Monday Night Football.
And just to let
TV.
y'all go, let y'all know is new rules about the rescheduling. They taking points off now.
That's what's up. Yeah, let's talk about that in a second. That's what's up. I would like to see you take debate a bit more serious because it's clear that you have the ability to do better. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Yeah, I agree. At some point, you have to ask yourself if you really want to be in the league because the effort you're putting in makes me feel like you really don't care. Look, man, and that's clear. And that's why some people get more pushback than others. You obviously have the ability to do better. You know how to research. You know how to orate your thought process, but you choose to pull up and be bland, be basic, and not go into your argument.
And it can be just like a nonchalant type of attitude that you got to fight, because sometimes I come across like that. Sometimes to people, like I'm not, but that's just kind of like my personality at times.
Right.
Chilling, like I could come off like nonchalant, like I don't care.
Yeah. Nah, but you'll still bring fire though. You still bring passion, and that's the thing. If you're gonna have a, but even in your presentations though, you don't do all black. Like you make up for it with what you're doing. So you can't be all blacked out, basic, and no energy. It's gonna hit you. You know what I'm saying? So, congratulations to the brother Chris, man. 148.78. We gotta look and see. I think he got the biggest margin of victory ever. We'll go ahead and check it out and see. I was 2 points off from what I thought he was going to get. You got to do better, Shenard. And not because I don't like you, but because you got the ability to do better.
Are you saying that you don't like him?
I don't like you. But that ain't the point.
All right, so let's deal with Chris. It says, Judge 1 says affirmative. A unique brand of patriotism. African American unique brand of patriotism. Black patriotism was shown substantially, seen in crisis 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, Harvey, Chiswick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, patriotism or national pride, love, and connection to the land. Just 2, it says believes Black people should be patriotic. Define patriotism from Harvey Chiswick's work, Historical Dictionary of the Enlightenment. Went over his opponent's premise, explained that in times of crisis, patriotism unites the country. Solid opening.
I agree. He should have attacked Chiswick's work in his rebuttal, just for the record. Like he should have called it appeal to authority and attacked. Jeez. You want me to get this one, and then you get the rest? I got you.
Real good.
I got you.
What you going from your phone?
No, I'm on the laptop. I'm good. I hadn't had it blown up. I'm good now. So I'll do it, and then you do the rest. All right, premise.
You do one and I do one.
All right, bet. I'll
start it off.
All right, you got it.
All right, it says premise solid round. Chris Harris brought that during times of crisis in this country, patriotism extends beyond color lines. Quoted Stephen Nathanson, definition of patriotism for the affirmative standard in this debate. Gave 3 main tenets to establish his premise, where African Americans have a unique brand of patriotism, self-sacrifice, patriotism, and how it relates to us. Chris Harris submitted the argument of the center is the greatest form of patriotism. Many ancestors benefited from the First Amendment. Chris Harris further supports his premise by arguing Huey P. Newton's social program in the 1970s, 10-point plan. The Black Panther Party used the democratic rights as citizens. Malcolm X established a unique brand of Black patriotism, Black economic power, Black empowerment, advocated freedom of speech, turned from nationalist views to more inclusive patriotism. MLK supported a unique brand of patriotism, voting rights for Blacks, First Amendment, I Have a Dream speech. Black leaders and the civil rights movement was built on pride and Black patriotism.
All right. States that all nationalities come together in times of crisis. Claims that this is the land that our ancestors built. Define patriotism in more detail from Patriotism, Morality, and Peace by Stephen Nathanson. Dissent is the greatest form of patriotism. Huey P. Newton used as an example of patriotism. He started the 10-point program, which outlined the needs of Black people during his time. Democracy is shaped by exercising our First Amendment rights. Malcolm X was another example of patriotism. His advocacy for nationalist ideologies merged him in with patriotism over time. Martin Luther King was another example of patriotism. The examples of Martin and Malcolm showcased how their sacrifices paved the way for patriotism. Civil rights movement also used as an example. Overall, this was an information-packed round. I mean, what else you gonna say? And this is something else you need to learn. He's tying everything in with patriotism. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what Judge Two showed. Like, his entire argument is tying in with patriotism. You have to attack that. Like, when you get to your rebuttal, you have to attack that this is not the right form of patriotism. And the only argument I see, well, the best argument I see is the definition of patriotism. You have to attack Chris's argument or definition of patriotism and call it appealed authority, bring it to the question, and attack. All right, let's go.
All right, this is the rebuttal round. It says rebuttal solid round. Rebuttal
Shenard.
You said
Yeah, that's Shenard.
King
KS is Shenard.
Shenard definition of patriotism. Y'all be forgetting that he got the king. King Shenard definition of patriotism. Chris Harris reiterates his definition in support of Black patriotism. Jim Crow has ended due to Black patriotism, racial capitalism, non sequitur. Black patriotism allows dissent, no source for NAACP, seeking to turn Blacks into patriots. Black national anthem, evidence of unique Black patriotism. That was a good point that he made.
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that's kind of what it is. In a sense, we kind of got our own thing going on. But it was a good position for this debate.
It was.
I could have debated probably both sides of the argument, but I would have never probably thought to use that angle on that side.
Yeah, I thought it was a good angle, but I think there's an argument for that in just establishing, regardless of whether you're dissenting or not, by being patriotic or saying you should be patriotic, you're supporting what they're saying. And there's an emotional argument, there's a statistical argument, there is a scholastic argument. I got it. Called out his opponent's definition of patriotism, highlighting that he attempted to undermine the debate and his premise. Stated that the stolen land reference was non sequitur, gave more information on Crispus Attucks, highlighting that his role in the war was a very important warning to the town that the British was coming. I mean, that's a great point. Like, how do you take one of his best arguments and use it against him? Yeah, so stated that his opponents threw out buzzwords to sound correct, but had no working knowledge of what he was talking about. Mentioned freedom of religion and is afforded to us under patriotism, which benefits his opponent as he believes in voodoo. Went through his opponent's argument point by point and refuted. Hit him up point by point. And like I said, I would love to see Blue, Domo, and Yame, myself, anybody against this argument, just to see an upper level debater go against this argument. So.
All right. This is rapid fire round. Chris Harris controlled this round. Name of the debate. Why not address source of Huey P. Newton? Did Malcolm X and MLK sacrifice for you with equal rights? Black national anthem unique to Black patriotism. Just 2. It says was able to get your opponent to admit that the people he listed as examples for patriotism, which undermines his entire argument. Great job asking the hard questions and getting him to concede his points. That's reflective of the actual score. You see?
Yeah. Points to what's going on.
Yeah, that was his lowest round with the 5, and Chris another.
Chris 20. Got 10s. All right, got 20 clearly. Let's get that PowerPoint or closing. All right. Solid round, textbook closing. Powerful quote from Martin Luther King recited, closed with freedom of speech, protest, and organizing. Stating that those are all benefits afforded to us in this country. Extremely solid closing. Judge 1 and Judge 2 agree. The answer
All
is
right.
simple.
PowerPoint.
I got it. So,
It's actually
excellent PowerPoint and presentation, easy to read and legible, well articulated argument, extremely easy to read and understanding, great color scheme. I agree. And what you gonna do? Beat him up.
Yeah, he's got.
Overall, solid rounds, well articulated argument. Judge 2, you showcased a great grasp on what you were speaking about. You took this debate seriously, and it's much appreciated. I want to know who these judges are, just to make sure.
The judges are Yara,
Makes
Nazareth,
sense.
and Judge Erica.
Yep, makes sense. Transcends. It don't matter who it is. Let this be a note to the debaters. I know we think, okay, it was Shenard, but I mean, he still gets high marks. It doesn't matter who it is. You got to learn to do what he did. That's the deal. Chris
And the
definitely
rankings
closed
are
the
as
gap.
follows.
Yeah, let's get it. So Chris closed the gap. I think it was at 145. He's now at 147, 146. He's got 3 debates. Domo has 1. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. You got your boy A9 sitting there at number 3. You got Rio at number 4. Suave at number 5. Rio! Shout out to that brother, man. Suave at number 5. Brother Moses at number 6. Shout out to the rookie. True Justice number 7. And Yame number 8. Blue at number 9. Black Sun at number 10. We got 2 rookies in the top 10. That's what's up. Rounding out, we got Battle Axe, KOT, Akmalaki, Hukanan, Pro Black, Madan, Lance, and Yashar. CT Duck down there hanging around. I think if that was it, that would be our playoffs for today. As Damo likes to say, let's find out what it would be. Let's look at the what does he go to? The overall points. Let's look at the overall points and see who would be in first place based upon the points right now. If we go Blue, still holding it down, number 5. If everything was in today and we're looking at points, I mean, Blue's putting in the most work in terms of debates. He's got the most points right now. Definitely, we're going to see all of this start to average out as everybody starts to get all their debates in. Shout out to that brother Blue. We got Rio, Suave, KOT, and Chris all in the top 5 with points. It's going to be interesting. Let's see what it looks like as we keep pushing through the season. Shout out to both debaters, man. Chris, you know, I know what you're saying. You got to debate who's available. The goal is now me and him to set up our next debate. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be interesting to see how we get it in. I do want to see him debate a Damo, things like that. Like I'm set up to debate Damo, Suave, and Yame more, things like that. So, yeah, let's get it in. Let's see a good season. You there, Suave boss?
You know, that's why I'm about to.
That's why I'm like, I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah, we definitely gonna just a little bit of league news. It was submitted by brother Melvin, and some things that he was touching upon during the latest meeting that we had, and I'll just go over some of those things. He wanted to do something actually with the time as well. It was just a discussion that we had in the last meeting. I'll submit this and send this out, to everyone. It says, as of December 12th, S.V.D.L will be reverting to the original standard time for premise rounds, which is 10 minutes. Extra premise minutes are only allowed in the playoffs as a privilege for making it to the playoffs. After December 11th, no more requests for extra time will be honored. Y'all hear that? This is, all right.
Okay.
So,
hold on. So we can adjust like the rapid fire rebuttal if we want to. Is that how that works?
I'm thinking he's talking about all the rounds, I believe, but it's maybe something that could be talked about. But I think he's talking about all the rounds.
Okay.
It says bullet point 2 is 2 rebuttals are now an option.
Okay, so we can have more than one rebuttal. Bet.
Right.
Bet.
It says you can now rebut in your closing as a second rebuttal without being penalized for it.
Man,
And this
can I speak to this real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what this means now? Oh, that's what's up. Okay. So for debaters, one of the things Special Ops is doing this at a higher level. What we run into is we're not able, especially if you rebut first and then your opponent rebuts second, you're almost at a disadvantage because you weren't able to have a second rebuttal, and then two, you weren't able to say anything in your closing. That sounds amazing at this point if you understand what's been told. Because now I can come back in my closing, you can come back in your closing, not so much introduce a new point, but you can present your closing and rebut some of the points that were brought out that you weren't able to address, especially in the rebuttal or in the rapid fire. This is an excellent point, and I love this. Still probably going to have the same time. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk to them and get more explanation about that. But even if it's 5 minutes, now it's not fluffer 5 minutes. Now it's get straight to the points. Let's address what was said, and then I'll finish off and wrap it all up tight end. Excellent job, judges. I agree. We don't need all the time that we're using for the rebuttal. And what we saw happen was people spending so much time in the rebuttal because they couldn't do certain things. In the premise, spending so much time in the premise, 15, 20-minute premise, because they didn't have what they thought was the options to do certain things in the rebuttal as well in the closing. Great observation. I like that a lot. I know some people may not, but I like that a lot. Excellent job. I like that. That's what's up. You hear Solo? Yeah, so until we come back, I think this is an excellent new point to be brought up. I think what
I was saying I was reading, but yeah, I had it on mute. It says in this new closing or second rebuttal, the negative will go first, then the affirmative has the last word. The rest of the debate will go as continued with the affirmative going first.
Now, and watch this. Don't think because you get a double premise or if you get a versus debate, whoever goes first, you're in the role of the affirmative. I understand this completely at this point. This is awesome. So in a regular debate, whoever goes first normally would be the affirmative. Whoever goes second would be the negative. And then what would happen is you would trade rounds like that all the way through the end of the debate. Now what happens though when you get to that closing, what they're saying is that negative goes first and that affirmative goes last. So now you have the same burden of proof that the affirmative really would have had throughout the debate to actually make your point, because that affirmative gets to be the last voice. I like that. I like that. I wish other debaters was here to have this conversation right now to see how they felt. I think that is an excellent point. I would love to see how they got to this point. I would love to see how they arrived at this point, because that's excellent. That's what's up. That's what's up.
All right. And just one more, because there's the other ones, but we're going to save the rest for later date. It says Rio and Cozy and Minister Howe vocally. Okay. Oh, AKA Minister Howe. I was about to say that's the same person. AKA Minister Howe vocally challenged his debate decision on my statement of calling him T-Duck, AKA New King Area, a woman in the debate. Rio states that my interpretation was wrong and that he will be submitting a challenge. Solar will admit him 1 point in the rebuttal round for this debate, pending the received challenge. If the challenge isn't submitted, then the point may be removed. You know,
that's
so he
may
had the point added to that debate. You know, so
that's what's up.
Yeah. So with that being said, I don't know what you're gonna do, brother.
I'm trying to see. Damo said he was going to come in. I know Suave is lingering around somewhere. I'm going to hold it down for another 15, 20 minutes, maybe. If anybody else going to come in, the debaters don't want to come in. I hope I wasn't too hard. I mean, I was trying to, you know what I'm saying, keep the same energy. I would love to hear the debaters' standpoints from the debate. If not, you know, I'm going to hold it down for like 10, 15 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and lock it down, shut it down, because I think we went over the debate. I think these are excellent new rules. I'm going to talk about that for a second. I'm going to close out on the debate. Hopefully Damo jumps on. Hopefully Suave chime in. Shout out to the commissioner, man. You know what it is, bro. We always love to have you on these joints. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, see you guys on Wednesday. Yashar and Rabbi Lewis. Peace.
What's the topic?
The
golden calf.
HWH, the golden calf.
Yeah, that's interesting. Who's on whose side? You know who's on whose side?
Rabbi Lewis saying that YHWH is the golden calf.
Yeah, I figured. Got you. All right. Yeah. All right, man. We appreciate you, Soda, bro. Be easy, man.
Peace.
Peace, bro. All right. Let's get it. So, you there, Suave? Can you check and see if there's anybody in the back that want to come in? Let me get his call. Oh, man, shout out to the league, bro. We got changes coming. We got debates happening. We got channels getting strikes and still moving forward. Like, we doing our thing, bro. Like, this, where else do you get this type of drama? Right? Where else do you get this type of drama? Hey, look, this is what it is. All right, so we got the score. First off, congratulations to the brother Chris, 148-78. I know a lot of brothers feel the same way I feel. I want to see the brother challenged at this point. Not saying he's going to get less or more. I just want to see him challenged. That's all. I mean, Joseph Israel obviously is in a challenge. Shenard did the best he could. It's not a challenge. I want to see the brother challenged. I don't know that things changed, though, right? He's obviously figured out the blueprint of the judging. He's obviously pulling up with great PowerPoints. His oratory skills are excellent, and he's able to maintain what he's trying to do. So, hey, we're looking at something. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. We'll see. I do definitely, though, want to see him debate more challenging debaters. There's no reason that Shenard and Joseph Israel should be in the debate with him. Hold on one second, fam. I'm going to be right back. There we go. I was just calling about that because I knew Domo was lingering around somewhere. Hey, peace to the MVP. You there, King? All right, he's still getting situated. Until he come in, I'll hold it down. But yeah, we got the MVP in the building. Shout out to Domo, the political plug. Hope we had a great show tonight on the Chop Up Show. If y'all get a chance, go like, subscribe to that channel, to the Chop Up Show. Where he's holding it down with Sister Toya and her brother, I always forget the brother's name. Consciously. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all three of them. You know what I'm saying? Bring you that good political action. All right, so let's get into this. Number one, I think these changes are excellent. There you go. Old Charles Woodson looking at him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother, man. If y'all don't know, this is my bro. We talk crazy, but you talk about him and his family, I'm going to come see you. Shout out to you, fam. What's up with you? Yep. I know.
I mean, I will say this. The Chop Up got an NFT. I don't know if y'all know what that is.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I just got off of the guest that we had as it's my nigga from debate from back in the day. But yeah, I mean, he big into the crypto shit. And as a gift for being on the show today, that nigga made us an NFT, bro.
Shut up.
I bullshit you not. I'm gonna market that shit once. You know what I'm saying? I got a call with him tomorrow to kind of get the because I don't really know the ins and outs of that shit. I know what an NFT is. I know how they work.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm gonna talk to you. We'll talk about more. That's a good deal.
The backstage shit. Yeah. We was just talking with him, bro. So yeah, so that's the conversation we had today. If y'all want to have that, you know what I'm saying, hear that crypto conversation over on the Chop Up. We just finished that, but yeah. Niggas is working on big shit, but
that's a big deal because that's what I'm working on. My wife woke me up at 3 a.m. Was like, "Well, we ain't got no NFT," and I was like, "Okay, my fault."
Yeah,
she was like, "You got all these licenses," and let me tell you, this is why I love black people. They don't hold no punch. You got all these licenses and whatnot, and you can't do this. I was, let me get on my job. So, no, that's a big deal, bro. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, so Yeah, I got memes. Like I said, nigga, we got big shit. We got big things in the work. But
Yeah.
I called Chris's premise. I could
let,
get.
let me say this real quick before you go, because I don't know if you heard what I was saying. And this ain't even being petty at this point. This is just, I would have loved to see you or Blue argue this. Me specifically, I want to see you argue it. I think Blue brings the emotion. I think you bring the technical aspect that would have challenged it. I ain't gonna say you're gonna destroy it. I personally think you would have hurt it a lot. I think there's a lot of people that would have hurt the argument a lot.
Chris
But
wouldn't take that debate against me, bro.
yeah, but that's my problem though. Right? This is my issue with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. If he really takes that stance, if he really believes in that stance, he shouldn't have a problem taking it with you. Right? He shouldn't have a problem because I want to see, and this just me, a debate geek. I want to see that argument against you saying this is anti-black to make this argument. Like this is actually supporting the destruction of black people. Go ahead, bro. I've been talking a lot. You got it, man. I'm gonna fall back for a second.
So this is the thing about patriotism. Patriotism is a question of nationalism. It's not what I heard was that it like being a patriot had to do with adhering to certain ideals and certain practices that are espoused by the Constitution. But that's the thing; those ideals and practices aren't unique to the Constitution. Like literally, like the framers of the Constitution borrowed those concepts. You know what I'm saying? So you just like believing in like fighting for certain shit and standing together. That's not what patriotism is. Patriotism is uniquely a staunch advocate for your nation. It's nationalism. And where the part that I was just like, yo, it was just the mouth. I think the most
The
egregious.
dissenter, right? Just the whole dissenter argument and saying that is patriotic, especially using Malcolm to make that argument. Like,
Yeah, because while it's like the thing about the United States is a dissenting nation, right? But its dissent has to do with its relationship with its government to avoid tyranny, not just dissenting against anything, right? Because Malcolm X dissented against the nation itself. Malcolm X is quoted as saying, "I'm not an American. I am a victim of America." That uniquely is says I'm not a patriot. This nation shouldn't exist, right? Saying like Malcolm X saying that he's not an American spits in the face. Black nationalism itself spits in the face of patriotism. And when he made the statement that when he moved against um, when he said he was moving away from separatism, he wasn't moving away from separatism.
he
He was
moved
moving
away
away.
from religion. He moved away from. Let me shut up. Go ahead.
Where I mean that, but he also moved away from like completely isolating the possibility of working with white people.
Facts. Facts.
That's what so he was still
And that was hold on. And let me just say this. And I agree with you because my dad was a Muslim, right? And so the argument that he would teach me even was the problem became when Malcolm stopped saying white devil, right? When he stopped moving into the space of saying white devil, he's saying, no, we basically going to use whatever is at our disposal. Go ahead.
yeah. So on that alone, I felt like that's like I got through that part, but then it was like I was preparing for the chop up anyway, so it was like I can't even. I got like I got to the Martin Luther King part and was like, I mean, the Martin Luther King portion, I do feel like that's relevant. I mean, I guess you could possibly make an argument that Dr. King was a patriot. Nah, I don't think you can do that. Like, I don't think you can.
Yeah, I
I
think it's
don't think you
hard.
can. I mean, he did, but like against a more capable opponent, you're not going to get that argument. You're not going to get off the argument that the civil rights was a question of patriotism. You're not gonna win that argument, bro.
Because
Like,
the argument is the very argument is we're going against the act of being patriotic.
right,
Because it's patriotic to be discriminatory. It's patriotic to oppress black people. It's patriotic to build this nation off the backs of black people. That's why I'm saying
right.
I don't necessarily live in that space. So I would have loved to see people that live in that space, but I could have easily came and made the capable argument for this. And so that's
Man,
why I was looking at Shenard, like, what are you doing?
yeah, bro. I mean, and you got to look at who co-opts the language of patriotism is white nationalists. Like
Facts.
the whole why do you think "Make America Great Again" was the slogan? Because
God.
it was no. So it's like
I would
it's
have
like,
had pictures of tiki torches.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
I
the argument,
mean,
bro?
the January 6th riots, all of that shit, like that would have been like those were patriots. The January
Right,
6th, they
right,
considered themselves patriots. Like
right.
the standing of black people has nothing to do with patriotism. Like there's nothing productive about being a nationalist for America as a black person. Nothing, nothing.
Right,
Like
right.
and really, I mean, it, like I said, like I don't think he'd debate. I don't think he'd debate this. I ain't gonna say he bum hunting just because like he do got some tough debates coming up. But
Supposedly. We'll see.
this this
Yeah.
topic, yeah, I mean, I trust him. He said he's trying to debate. You know what I'm saying?
I know
Other
me and him
niggas and
got
shit.
something lined up next. He's supposed to go next, so we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, right. So if you're supposed to be next, I mean, it's
Yeah.
some smoke coming. But I mean, I feel like these type of debates, I yeah, yeah, bro. Like
It's an
it's
issue. Yeah, it's an issue. And look,
yeah.
I'm like I get it, you know what I'm saying? There's been a lot going on, so you take the debate you can. I don't like the way this looks, in my opinion. But like you said, I'm very hesitant to say he's bum hunting because there's been a lot of extenuating circumstances. So uh, I just I'm even saying this in the chat, like during the debate, like I want to see this Damo. I want to see this. This is a debate. I want to see y'all debate.
I'm saying he wouldn't debate me on this though.
I don't give a damn. That's the debate I want to see because it lines up right in both of what you guys do best. You know what I'm saying? Like it puts
Nah, what Chris does best is the Bible. That's
he
like,
but this is
I
another
take that back. Not the
space.
Bible, not the Bible. What Chris does best is historical mythology or
Historical mythology.
comparative mythology.
Right. Right.
That's what he does best. So Chris
Okay,
is
but this patriotic argument has been an argument that he lives in, especially when Consul was here. So I would just love to see that argument and see how it lines up because I don't think that Damo sits and lets him rest with the Malcolm X comment, with the Martin Luther King argument, with the patriotic argument. And I think it just becomes an amazing debate. I just don't think it happens. Um, I you know I
bro.
but
I
I do
don't
want to.
listen.
I want to see y'all
Nobody.
debate regardless, bro.
I mean, yeah, and we will, like Chris and I will debate. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. I think Chris knows not to pick something like this though. Like because this is like really like I understand patriotism. I mean, and I thought Shenard stood a better chance. I didn't even really get to see his argument or
It was,
really listen to a lot of what he
I was
said.
mad. I was mad because he and like I said, he scratched the surface, bro. Which makes me think he can get better because he was scratching the surface, but it just wasn't it. I mean, he was scratching the surface.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the thing is, I don't like, and this is why it's always important to define terms, like really have a
Mm-hmm.
clear understanding of the concepts that you're using. Because if you from the beginning able to frame patriotism specifically as nationalism, you're like, okay, being a nationalist for America, when has that been beneficial for Black people? Specifically
Right,
when, because then you juxtapose being a nationalist, like an American nationalist, is
yeah.
actually is counterproductive to being a Pan African. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't stand, like you can't be a
They don't.
patriot
Yeah,
and Pan African. It don't work like
right,
that. You
right.
know what I mean? Because that means that you understand that the connection of your people goes beyond nationalistic lines,
You
right?
can do
And
like Malcolm did and use certain parts of it, but you cannot be hardcore patriotic and then
well, no,
say
I mean, but even Black nationalism, to an extent, was a even Black nationalism to an extent was a misnomer because there's no black nation. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So black nationalism was more so an appeal to Pan Africanism than it was to, because if you couple what Malcolm X said about not hating, like you can't hate the roots of the tree and not hate the tree. You know what I mean? That means that you have to have a positive relationship with Africa in order to have a positive relationship with black people. You know what I mean? So with that being said, that means that our like what's important to us can't be caught up in America, because America specifically creates a detrimental perception of Africa, right? And it actually, like, American nationalism says abandon your culture to stand with America, abandon your culture to stand with white people. You feel me? Like, 'cause that's why, like for example, I would have pointed to when Chris was talking about like us, like stand, like like patriotism is people coming together, and like he used the example of 9/11. I mean, what I would have pointed to was how 9/11 then made it like patriotism at that time meant harassing people who looked like they had any type of Middle Eastern descent. You had
Right.
Indian people being harassed. You
Right.
had
Right. Right.
like you had like different groups of Asian people that wasn't even, you know what I'm saying, like
And then
Muslim.
it also meant sending black bodies overseas to fight for something that does not support you, to harass other black and brown bodies.
Exact, and
Like, it's, yeah,
on
yeah,
top of the
like,
fact that that to participate in that form of patriotism is to adopt the perception of the world that is given to you by white supremacists. Really, to take it even a step further, patriotism uniquely encourages xenophobia, right? That means you have black people who say like, nigga, I ain't from Africa, nigga, like what the fuck, Africa ain't never did that type of shit, right? That's the type of arguments that patriotism encourages, because since it creates a nationalistic lens, the only thing that matters is that what happens within our borders. On
facts.
top of the fact that those borders were created,
To
it was
destroy us.
created on, nah, not even just to destroy us. It was created at the destruction of indigenous people. So in order to have American patriotism, you got to be anti-Native American, as well
Anti-indigenous
as
and,
anti-black.
anti-African, because then you're dealing with what they did also to the indigenous African, just to get us like, yeah, it's, and now we're moving into a global perspective of what it means. Yeah, like there's all type of arguments. Then we move to a global perspective of what it means to be patriotic to this nation. And yeah, like I thought there were several different angles Shenard could have gone. He didn't go. And I thought Chris rested in that space and pulled out a 148 to 78.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Hopefully, these, because he got a 148 and a 149. Hopefully, he could. Yeah, that could be sustained. You know what I'm saying? And so when he started hitting these, because
it's
that's the
gonna be
thing.
difficult, bro. Like it, and I think we've seen that with me versus Blue. I did drop the ball a little bit, but it's just different when you're fighting against somebody who's pushing back. It's not easy to get them 10. It's hard to get a perfect in a rapid fire. You debate Dummer, debating me, debating more, and Yame, Blue, Swad. It's hard, right? You're gonna get cut. You're gonna get head butted. Something's gonna happen. So it's gonna be interesting. I think the opening and the premise stay the same. I think the rebuttals, rapid fire, becomes a problem. And so
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I didn't think that was a good. I don't think that was a good premise from Chris.
I didn't either. I
I
thought it
didn't
was
think
9.
that.
We said it was 9. I could see them even giving him an 8. I mean, he ran out of time. He ran out of time in his premise. But
Well, I think it's a few things. Like the way that the information was presented wasn't done necessarily in a way to actually encourage patriotism. Like it was done more so in a way to where it took like black leaders and was like, I'm framing this as patriotism. But there were no concepts relate. I mean, just the way that patriotism was explored. I
but
mean,
there's no
and if
pushback though. There's no
Chris,
pushback. So what do? There's not even a narrative presented that says
but
that this
the
doesn't
premise
even line up with.
But the
I
premise
get what you're saying.
is supposed to be like on its own merit, and on
I
its
agree.
own merit, I don't. Did he get tens in the premise?
Yeah, he got tens. Only he lost a point in the opening, got a 10-9 in the opening. I think he got a 10-9 in the closing, maybe. Yeah. 148. 148. Lost 2 points all through the whole joint. And this was my thought. And this ain't even no hate. I just thought that I thought the premise wasn't a 10. One, he ran out of time, but two, even his dissenter argument, he didn't connect all the dots. He just didn't. If your argument is dissension, you're not explaining how you're lining Malcolm as a dissenter and then calling that patriotism.
Yeah.
But maybe you get away with it because there's no pushback. I don't know. I mean, are we moving to the space now where we asking the judges to call bullshit when we obviously know that Malcolm wasn't in that space, but then in the same voice saying they need to come in with a blank slate?
Well, I don't even necessarily think it's about calling bullshit. I think it's about calling into question though. Like, is the general thing being properly applied to what's being argued? I don't
Yeah,
think
but
it
then
was.
but it's the same concept though,
Well,
because
no,
now
it's
we
not though,
saying
because like if the conversation, if I'm looking at the thesis of the debate, and the thesis of the debate is patriotism, I
Mhm.
want to I want to see concepts relate like
But he
the
defined what patriotism was. He defined patriotism as dissent. That was his argument. He's defining patriotism as dissent.
but under like who defined it as dissent? Like what
He did
definite?
because he's saying that a part of this is the fact that not thought he didn't do a good enough job, right? He should have gone into some different laws, different rules, and said it, but he's
But I mean,
defining it as
that's
dissent.
what I mean though. Like that's the standard of scholarship, right? Like
I
so,
agree.
like okay, if somebody's just saying patriotism is dissent, where is the is because it's the premise. It's not about somebody pushing back. It's about like laying down the foundation. This is my overall argument. So I'm looking at how the argument is positioned, and it like it was patriotism was pigeonholed into that conversation.
Hmm.
Like
Or
it was.
shoehorn is the word that he likes to use, right?
Yeah, but see, I think the reason why I say pigeonhole is like it.
Same concept. Go ahead, you got it.
Well, not because I'm talking about like he tried to make he tried to create a rigid understanding. Actually, you're right. Nah. Because he tried to hammer patriotism down to dissenting. He tried to create a rigid understanding of it that's focused primarily on dissenting. And pigeonholing is creating an exclusive like this is what this is. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like when this term is used, it means this. And not necessarily. No.
I thought it was a lot of logical fallacies that Shenard could have capitalized on, but that's just me.
But but I mean, not even necessarily call them on. Nah, cause not cause like even with saying I don't think you necessarily shoehorn because as a part of I wouldn't say dissenting isn't a part isn't not being a patriot. You see what I'm saying?
But to
Shoehorning
say
it
that that's the only definition of patriotism,
that to me
because
that's pigeonholing.
right, and
That's
I
pigeonholing.
agree, right, because then we move into the space of even those that were dissenting in the form of patriotism to support an anti-black narrative, if we really want to be honest, because and when we go into what Shenard's argument is, right, his argument he was trying to set it up of being patriotic is completely detrimental to what black people should be,
But that's
right?
because he didn't. But that's because the issue that he ran into is that he didn't offer a counter interpretation of
Right,
patriotism.
of patriotism. I
Yeah,
agree.
you gotta explain not like when like from the jump. Even when he says it, this ain't even about a rebuttal. Like you have to off like you're
This is premise against premise at that point, right?
yeah you gotta
Right.
say you know what I'm saying. Um, you have to say. this
My
is
definition
my
of
this is the
patriotism,
definition,
right?
and not even
Right.
mine. Like this is what the Scott this is what literature says. Like when we looking
Yeah.
at like who we use to define words, it's not my definition. So Shenard is supposed to be like, yo, this is boom, this is my definition. You know what I'm saying? And I mean it kind of gives you that embedded clash because the idea is that if my definition is this and you got like this like narrow like well it's dissenting, right? but but your definition is like when it's nationalism when so nationalism doesn't exclude being like dissenting towards the government because the question is what are you dissenting, right?
Mhm.
Like or like so if you talk about during civil rights, well the patriots were dissenting against integration because they felt it went against
Right. And so then the question would be then, are you saying that the leaders of the civil rights movement would be considered as patriots?
right,
Of
because those
course
people was
not, right?
clashing. Like
Right.
those people clashed, right? The reason the government was willing to do civil rights, the issue is that how would integrate segregationists respond, right? The negative impact of it. That was the issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, yeah, I just like when you it's
It
Shenard
was a
though.
lot. It was smart. And so
Yeah, it's Shenard.
you got to give him the points. I mean, he earned them, but it's difficult. And you know, and then when you say that you now you go to the judges and you want them to argue something that's not there. Shenard doesn't present
Yeah,
that argument, so it's not there. So it becomes
yeah. I mean, I mean, I think you know, so like they're like with LeBron or with like great players, you know, you get calls. You get
yeah,
calls that other niggas don't get. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
it's certain things that kind of go like with Tom Brady. It's certain things that just go his way with because it's fucking Tom Brady. Niggas act a certain
Yeah.
way because it's fucking Tom Brady. So I mean, I think this is more of a question of Chris established a reputation in this league, and
Uh-huh.
so when he comes and puts together what looks to be like a decent argument. 'Cause, I mean, I say it was decent. I just don't think that against a like really a qualified opponent, that argument does not hold weight like
I
at
think
all.
the rebuttal. I think the rebuttal pokes a lot of holes in it. I think the rebuttal, and I think the
The
rapid
rebuttal
fire.
kills it.
Yeah, I
The
think the
rebuttal
rebuttal
kills it,
hurts it, and I think the rapid fire
especially with the
pushes
examples
out
that
the
he
passion.
used.
Right, right,
For real,
right. But I,
for real.
like you said, though, I don't think he takes that debate against you, and I definitely don't think he uses those examples if he does take the debate. But I'm gonna say I'm an advocate. I'm a stump for y'all having something along these lines. Um, I just would love to
Yeah.
see it. I would love to see it. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think I'm one of the only people
Not
that's got
this.
enough nuts to challenge you in one of these spaces of like capitalism or something. Just gonna be honest. Me and Moore, maybe. I know you and Moore got history, so I ain't even gonna go there. But
Nah, that nigga not fucking with me, bro. That nigga not
I'm gonna kick
fucking with
your
me, dog.
ass. That's all. I'm
Nah,
gonna kick your
you not
ass.
fucking. You not fucking with me either.
Hey,
Like if we keeping
especially
it in
after what I
stack,
seen, especially after I seen on my last debate. Like, yeah, I know what I gotta do. Like, it's not
yeah.
even
But you seen my
like
last
I.
debate, bro, right?
Yeah, but you debated. Like, I don't want to hear shit
Yeah.
until you start to, you know what I'm saying? Debate that top five. You know what I'm talking
But I shit, tell niggas to step
I
up,
know, nigga,
step
I'm
up.
not, I get it.
Yeah.
I ain't bitching, I'm just saying, nigga, until I see that,
Well,
I
nah,
don't hear.
I got. So I need to reschedule this date with Suave. Cause I got Suave next on this Black Lives Matter debate. You feel me? That's
That's the money debate, right?
yeah.
What's the topic?
Is Black Lives Matter against uh black men?
You saying yes.
He says yes. Yeah.
You saying it is
Even
against black men.
yeah.
You saying no. It's a good debate. It's a good debate.
Man, not really, bro. I
I
think I'm gonna
mean,
keep it.
the
It's not, and this
argument's
is
there.
and this is
The
why. This is
argument's
why.
there. I say the
It's not.
argument's
It's
there.
the argument is only there if you're not paying attention.
The
It's
argument's
and I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like everything about the phrase hashtag Black Lives Matter has
there.
literally been centered around black men. It was Trayvon's death, Michael Brown's death. You feel me? All the deaths after that, right?
George
Black
Floyd.
Lives
I
Matter.
mean, you could bring Sandra Bland in, but then you got
But see,
Philando Castile. You
you
could
can't,
just
and this is where Suave dies though, because you can't. And people was actually arguing that there wasn't that the presence of Black Lives Matter. There were no rallies for Sandra Bland. There wasn't people. You know what I'm saying? Like compared to all of these other
What about
people.
Breonna Taylor?
No, bro. You know the hashtag that they use for Black women? Say her name. They literally
Damn.
came out with the say her name hashtag because the
That's crazy.
argument was that that the Black Lives Matter energy was never being deployed for when it happened to Black women. So they came out with the say her name hashtag. So then niggas say, oh, it's about the gay feminists and the well, guess what? Gay people also came out and said we don't see the Black Lives Matter energy for when trans and gay people are murdered.
Damn.
Then we come up with the hashtag all Black Lives Matter.
Suave, I
So
hope you listening. Hey, hold it down
not
for a second. I'm going to get this bottle. Hold it down for a second.
I hope you listening too, because I mean at the end of the day, how is it that you can make the statement and claim that Black Lives Matter excludes every like black men or whoever else when that the energy is only ever is mainly mostly deployed for the deaths of black men, and both women and the queer community have created their own hashtags because they felt excluded. So yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, once we reset this date, it's a wrap. Cause I'm traveling on the 10th, so it might probably be like on the 11th or some shit. Or maybe even when I get back. It might be when I get back. Since I'm I'm forfeiting. 20 is $100. I'm forfeiting 20% of the pot so we could reschedule. So if I win, I get 80, he get 20. If he win, he get the whole 100. You know what I mean? But because we have to reschedule, he gonna get some change either way. I'm cool giving him $20 for second place. Um, but that's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. But this is Chris right now. He reminded me of the Chiefs. He reminded me of the Chiefs. The Chiefs are winning, but they're not doing it convincingly. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, last week they kicked the Broncos' ass, but it's I want to see you do that against some real talent. You know what I mean? Some real talent. And I think it's just certain debates, certain niggas ain't gonna take without like against real talent, and that's part of the problem. You feel me? Patriotism is easy, low hanging fruit to beat up. And this is a message to the league, to any of you niggas that's willing to debate patriotism. If any of you niggas is willing to stand on that in front of me, please, by all means, I dare a nigga to debate Damo on patriotism and whether or not it's good for black people. I would take this exact same debate against anybody. Against anybody.
I think the only person that's going to do that with you probably be Brother Moses, but I don't even think he'll do it.
No, I'm gonna kick Brother Moses' ass on that plate on the plantation logic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him that work on Ice Cube versus the Black Farmers.
That nigga
So
said that all y'all do is bring up the okay. It's a 3-2-1 plantation. It's like, yes, my nigga, because it's centered that was the start of black people being socialized in America.
I'm
And if
gonna
we
say
ain't
this. And I agree with you, right? And this gonna sound messed up. I only see one piece of competition. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And we're looking at each other. I want to see what more do. I'm gonna be honest. I want to see what more do. But shout out to Chris.
Bro.
Yeah, shout out to Chris.
Is he still in the league?
Yeah, he here. I know he gonna debate. He here. He just ain't debated yet.
Half the season is almost over, bro.
I know, bro. I mean, I know me and you know how to close that gap. I know other people do. This is not taking a shot at Chris. I respect his ability because I know this nigga will think I'm like taking a shot at him. But now we get into the space of competitive nature, and
yeah, I mean, this is with all due respect to Chris.
Yeah.
This is no disrespect to Chris as a debater.
Yeah,
He's top tier over here without a doubt. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like he's a champion over here without a doubt.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I
This is not
mean?
me,
So
but I'm just saying, like, I think even in the debate that I saw against Joseph Israel with that argument, I'm just looking at the arguments. Other people that are familiar with these arguments, even against the Akmalak argument, it's different. The
hey,
one
hold
thing
it
I
down, bro.
say,
I gotta go put my son back to sleep. Hold it
yeah, I
down.
got you. The one thing I would say when I look at like Adamo's debate, that argument is hard to argue against, right? Even when I look at my debate, my argument is hard to argue against. I messed up in that debate. None against Blue. I messed up in that debate. I know where I lost the 6 or 7 points that I needed to be, where I needed to be at. I want to see how Chris does against top 3, top 4, top 5. And when I see that, then I'll know. I'm sorry, West Side Rider. Chris, and like I said, Chris is not he's an excellent debater, right? He's top tier. This has nothing to do with that, right? The arguments that I'm seeing are not arguments that some of the debaters that I know, the Moors, the Domos, the myself, the Blues, the Inyames, the response to these arguments are completely different in its different debates. That's all I'm saying. Until I see Moore come in and get busy, then I can say that. I know what Moore is going to bring to the table, but I just can't say that until he shows y'all, and then I can say it. I know what Moore is going to do. I know Moore is going to come in and get busy. When I see that, and I'll speak on that. But I want to see my thing at this point, and I was saying this in the chat, and it's sad because I'm talking to Lilith in the chat, right? Shout out to Lilith Revenge. And we talking about wanting to see a Chris and Damo on this topic. And she's even saying it's not going to happen in the regular season. It'll have to be in an off-season debate or after they finish their debates. That's unfortunate for me. That's unfortunate for me being a geek of debates and wanting to see the best debaters debate. I want to see that. And the reason I think this is like a catch-weight fight for Damo and Chris. Damo doesn't debate the Bible. And so he's not going to come into, Damo doesn't debate, comparative history and comparative mythology. So if Chris was to catch, it's like a catchweight into this political stage, Damo comes down a little bit instead of, just pure cut political. We go into a space of what's better for Black people. In this perspective, I think this is an amazing debate, right? And that's full respect to Chris. I hope he don't get upset and do a stream tomorrow, but if he do, it is what it is. I ain't worried about it. But I'm not disrespecting you, bro. I think your skills are amazing. I want to see you debate the top tier debaters, right? Win, lose, or draw. I just want to see it. As a fan of debates in this league, that's what I want to see at this point. I want to see the Chiefs versus the Patriots in the regular season if Tom Brady was there, or the Chiefs versus the Bucks, right? I want to see the Rams versus the Cardinals. I want to see the Cowboys versus the Ravens, or whatever we're going to see. I want to see the top debaters debate each other, because at this point, at this space, I think that's what puts the most butts in the seats, but it also gives us the greatest interpretation and the greatest understanding of the various arguments that exist, right? If I didn't think that Chris could bring a great argument against Doma, I wouldn't be talking about it. If I didn't think Moore could bring a great argument against either one of these people, I wouldn't be talking about it. If I didn't think Inyame or Blue or Swab, I want to see these arguments. This is what I want to see at this point, right? I want to see us going round and round, head to head, figuring out what's the best topics that we could debate. So yes, I know Chris got fired. That's not me hating. I don't know that Chris got fired consistently against the top level debaters week in, week out on topics that they're great in as well, right? Because what I do see a person like Chris doing is dominating in a space where he's great at, or even dominating in the space against people that can't take those shots. The one thing we all got to admit is we got to at least ask, what does that debate look like against Adamo? against a Blue, against a Suave, against an Inyame. And you know, I hope we find that out. You know what I'm saying? I hope we find that out because I think he's a great debater. Obviously, I think I'm one. I think Domo's one. I think Moore's one. I think Inyame's one. Suave. You know, we can get Minister Howe. Like that's a okay. I would love to see a Chris and a Minister Howe in an area if they really want to go into comparative mythology or into the Bible, right? These are the debates that I'm interested in seeing now with the people who are saying, you know, we're the top tier debaters. Because otherwise, we wait till we get into the playoffs and we hope, which is very well capable of happening, that some of the top guys get knocked off in a lucky round. Somebody catches a lucky punch, you know. Hopefully, Blue catches a debate against, I don't know, whomever, against a Black Sun. Because and let's not even take no shit at Black Sun, because Black Sun being a good debater is probably going to be the lower level of the debaters just because of his score. He's still got the ability to knock somebody out. Once again, not taking no shots at Black Sun. So I don't want to sit back and say let's hope that so and so gets knocked out. Nah, man. Let's see the best debaters debate, because the judges are going to do what the judges do. The judges are going to have to judge based upon who you debate. I want to see is debate. I want to see me and Domo mix it up. I want to see Moore and Domo mix it up. I want to see Moore and Chris mix it up. I want to see Chris and Inyame, Chris and Moore, Chris and me, Chris and Blue. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we at this point. That's what this season was about, with having all of the top debaters coming in and coming back. Let's mix it up, bro. Let's get it in. Let's see what it is. I ain't running for nobody, right? My first debate out is against Blue. One of the hardest outs here, especially on that topic. So I hope we get there. That's the goal, man. I hope we get there. I hope we get to the space where we seeing that. Imagine Blue and Chris tonight on that topic. Damo and Chris tonight on that topic. And then you got Damo sitting here saying, so yo, who in the chat? All right. Who agrees then that Chris would never take this topic against Damo? I want to know. Damo clearly said that Chris would never take this topic against him. I've never known Chris to take something like that sitting down. So with Chris, after he debates me, we clearly understand me and him mixing it up next. That's the goal. Would he take this debate against Damo or something very similar to this? Right? I think he should too as well, Ebony. I think he should. I want to see that. I want to see that debate, because Chris actually brought a very excellent argument. Like, let's not play. I don't agree with the choices that he made, but the underlying perspective of the argument is a very good perspective of dissension being used as a form of patriotism. How does that translate? How does that translate when Damo comes back and says, yeah, that's just one part of the argument. Let's really define. And I think Blue has said this, because I want to make it clear, this is not hate. Blue had made the same argument when Chris went up against Joseph Israel. He said, when they were talking about the Merneptah Stela, Blue had said, what does it look like when Chris has to argue against people who are pushing back against that argument? You know, and that's what we all wonder as upper level debaters. What does it look like? So, you know, it'll be interesting to see. Be interesting to see what it looks like, man. Be interesting to look what it looks like. Where you at, Swab? Because I ain't trying to beleaguer this thing, man. Where you at? I ain't trying to belabor. Where you at? Where you at, Swab? I know you there. I know you listening. Swab always listening. What else we got? We got coming up, I want to say it's tomorrow. We got the brother Yashar versus Rabbi Lewis. Was the golden calf Yahweh or Yahoo? I don't know the exact words. I think that's going to be an amazing debate. I think Yashar is going to come in and do his thing. We know what Rabbi Lewis does, but you never know. He's streaky lately. He's showing his ability to kind of come in and be prepared. So it'd be interesting to see, man. It'd be interesting to see. Suave, I'm getting ready to shut this thing down, brother. Hope you're there. I hate saying so forgive me. And shout out to the brother Domo. I don't know if y'all caught it the other day. He had jumped on the argument league and was still without the stripe. Shout out to baby Huey, man. He got baptized. And he actually went through his ancestors' cultural baptism. Whether you agree with it or not, that's not what I'm here to argue. I just think it's amazing that babies are doing things that their grandparents, their grandfathers are doing in a space that's not traditionally 100% Western Christianity. So I thought that was amazing. Shout out to the young king. Shout out to the prince that he brought into the world. I thought that was an amazing thing. Shout out to the debaters tonight, man. Like it or not, we had a good debate. We got the best Shenard we ever seen. Chris just watched it. Chris is a lot. Chris is a lot for a debater that doesn't understand what he's doing. And we saw that. We saw him use his moxie, his expertise, and his experience as a veteran debater. And he put it on Shenard tonight. The scores show that, and what we saw shows that. Question is, what does that look like against an experienced debater? And we still don't know that yet. Shout out to the judges. Also, we saw some rule changes tonight. We saw some real rule changes tonight. We saw the rules get changed to the point of you don't have the ability to change the premise round. Premise rounds are only 10 minutes now. But you do have the ability to do extra rebuttals. So you can do 2 rebuttals. You can change the extension of time in the rapid fires, if I'm not mistaken. And also in the closing, you can rebut what you've heard. These are excellent things. These are amazing things. So, league is growing, man. We pushing forward. We doing our thing. Where you at, brother Suave Boss? I'm about to shut it down. Suave Beezy. I got to get up in approximately 2 hours and 11 minutes. Are you there, brother? Because I will call you. I will call you. Hold on, man. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all in the chat, what do y'all think? Because Solar had even said that he want to push the matchup between Damo and Chris. What do y'all want to see in that matchup? I want to know what y'all want. What do y'all want to see in that matchup, Damo against Chris? What would y'all like to see? Give me a topic. Tell me something. What y'all want to see? Hold on for a second.